Welcome to First Time Watching. Ready or not, this movie hits you with full force. The mix of brutal violence and dark comedy in this horror flick is just hard to dislike. But if you're here, you already knew that. What you really want to know is the true meaning behind the movie. If LaBelle is really the devil, why Alex made his final choice, and what the original ending was supposed to be. But before all that, here's a quick movie recap. It's the most beautiful day of Alex and Grace's lives, their wedding day. She's marrying into his highly dysfunctional and obscenely rich family, which honestly scares the crap out of her. But she loves the guy, so what can she do? His brother Daniel walks in and tells Grace it's not too late to run. She doesn't belong in their family, and he means that in the nicest way possible, because they're absolutely batshit crazy. Even Alex tries to kind of talk her out of it, but she refuses, because she really wants to marry the bastard. Now, his family owns a massive board game empire, so they're understandably concerned that Grace might be a gold-digging opportunist. After the wedding, Alex tries to tell her something important, but his aunt interrupts their conversation and calls them downstairs for the marriage night celebration. Alex explains that at midnight she has to play a game. It's a family tradition. Once she plays, she becomes one of them. Alex seems pretty awkward about it, but Grace figures it sounds easy enough. She'll just kick their asses at some harmless game and start her new life. While Grace gets ready, Alex meets up with his dad. Daddy Dearest asks how much he's told Grace about the game. Alex admits he told her nothing and adds that after tonight, they'll leave and never come back. His dad then asks, and if she pulls that one card, will you be able to do what's necessary? Alex doesn't answer. He just walks away. After some small talk among the family, it's time for the main event. They take Grace to the game room, a room full of weapons. The father explains that their family is all about tradition. His great-grandfather started a small printing company, which his grandfather turned into a board game company, and under his own leadership, it rose to new heights. But their family never believed they did it all alone. They had help. His great-grandfather was originally a seaman, and one day, a mysterious passenger named Mr. LaBelle came aboard. He was a collector and dealer of strange artifacts, one of which was a peculiar wooden box that he sold to Alex's ancestor. LaBelle told him that if he could open the box before sunrise, he'd fund any business he wanted. The man succeeded, and from then on, it became family tradition to play a game whenever a new member joined the family. The box now acts as a kind of printer. You insert a blank playing card, and Mr. LaBelle decides what game will be played. Grace draws her card. The game is hide and seek. Alex immediately loses his nerve as the room falls silent. Grace asks what to do, and they explain that she hides. They count to 100, and then they'll come to find her. She asks if there's a way to win. The father replies, not really, but if you hide until dawn, you'll be fine. He wishes her good luck, not that it helps much. As Grace wanders the halls, the family begins arming themselves. She hides inside an old dumbwaiter while the others spread out. The mother sits with Alex, suggesting he should sit this one out, but Alex isn't planning to let his wife die that easily. He sneaks through one of the secret servant passages to find her. Meanwhile, the mom and her idiot son-in-law search the halls. He asks how this usually goes, but she admits she doesn't really know. It's only happened once before since she joined the family. Meanwhile, Grace is getting bored of hiding and decides to move. As she sneaks through the halls, Alex's sister walks by. Alex suddenly grabs her from behind and pulls her into a room to hide behind the bed. Just as his sister walks away, she's shot in the face by Alex's other unhinged powdered sugar fanatic sister, Emily. The family isn't mad that she's dead. They're mad Emily shot her to kill because they need Grace alive for the ritual. Grace is in shock. Alex tells her they need to get out of there. His family believes they must sacrifice her before sunrise. He leads her through the hidden servant corridors and explains that the house is on lockdown. Why did she have to pull hide and seek? That's the one bad card. All the others are harmless, but hide and seek means a blood sacrifice to Mr. LaBelle. And if Grace had refused to play, she'd have died on the spot. He admits he didn't tell her because she would have left him, which, yeah, is pretty damn selfish. He tells her to stay hidden while he goes back to avoid suspicion. Grace shortens her wedding dress for easier movement and follows the tunnels only to end up right in front of the entire family. Emily, coked out of her mind, freaks and starts shooting wildly, missing Grace and almost killing everyone else. Grace uses the chaos to escape. She runs into the billiard room, tries tries the phone and door, but nothing works. Daniel finds her there. He just pours himself a drink. It's obvious he hates the family's tradition. He apologizes, says he'll have to tell them, and she begs him not to. He gives her a 10-second head start before calling out. The family rushes in, but Grace is long gone. Emily accidentally shoots a servant again. After all these years, you'd think this family would have learned how to aim. Since they're so incompetent, they decide to turn on the security cameras, hoping to catch her before dawn. Meanwhile, Grace heads back to the game room she's done hiding. Time to fight back. She grabs an old hunting rifle and makes her way to the servant's kitchen, but she forgot to load it. The butler walks in to make tea, forcing her to hide. Alex beat his family to it and is trying to help remotely by messing with the security system, unlocking doors where he can't. Grace accidentally makes a noise, drawing the butler's attention. She shoots him, but the shells are fake, so she smashes a teapot over his head. He pulls a knife, which leaves her little choice but to run. Meanwhile, Alex's family storms the control room, so Alex destroys the system before they can undo his work. He chokes his dad, but Daniel talks him down. His dad then knocks him out cold. Grace returns to the dumbwaiter to hide again, but someone else is already inside. The idiotic servant girl panics, hits the button, and gets crushed. She ruined a perfectly good hiding spot. The butler reports the latest disasters. The cameras are dead, the servant girl's dead, and Grace is still alive. The dad is furious, wondering how this one woman is killing them all, but it's actually their own incompetence that is killing them. The aunt blames the dad for letting Alex drift from the family. She insists she knew Grace would draw that card just like the only man she ever loved did. She regrets not killing him herself. She believes Alex is destined to lead the family because he's the only one who's ever seen Mr. LaBelle. His father thinks that was childhood nonsense, but she's convinced he's the chosen one. Meanwhile, Grace escapes into the garden. She finds the sacrificial goat stables, but little Georgie, one of the kids, shows up. Grace relaxes for a moment, thinking he's harmless. The little psycho shoots her through the hand, so she punches him square in the face and falls backward into a pit full of animal and human corpses. She tries climbing out, but the ladder breaks, leaving her dangling. She has to use her wounded hand to pull herself up. When she does, she slams it onto a nail, but Mama didn't raise no bitch. She drags herself out. As she runs across the garden, the gold-digging sister-in-law spots her and calls the family because she can't do shit herself. Grace reaches the main gate, tries climbing over it, but then decides to squeeze through. She screams for help, but the driver just speeds away, leaving her bleeding and crying. The butler spots her and reports to the family that she's escaped into the woods. Everyone's calm, except the dad, who's losing his mind. If she survives until dawn, they're all dead. Grace runs into the woods, but the butler catches up in his car. He tries pulling her inside, but she uses a ribbon from her wedding dress to choke him unconscious and steals his car. She activates the car's emergency service feature, begging for the police. But since the car was reported stolen, the system shuts it down. She's stranded again. The butler catches back up to her, shoots her with a tranquilizer dart, and drives her back to the mansion. He's thrilled. He cranks up the music, completely missing that Grace is waking up again. She kicks him in the face, crashes the car, and crawls out. Daniel finds her. He doesn't want to kill her, and she knows it, but he also knows LaBelle's power is real. He knocks her out with the butt of his gun just as his dad arrives. They drag her back inside. Meanwhile, Alex's mom visits him, cuffed to the bed. She tries to gaslight him, but he tells her flat out, if Grace dies, he'll kill his dear mommy too. She accepts her fate, but wants to know why he left the family. He says it's because killing goats started to feel normal, and once you accept that kind of insanity, you'll believe anything your family tells you. Everyone prepares for the ritual, while Alex keeps struggling against his cuffs. Grace is tied to the table as they chant and drink from the cup of LaBelle. The father raises the sacrificial dagger, then they all start vomiting black bile. Daniel poisoned them. He frees Grace, while Alex breaks out of his restraints. Daniel helps her hide, but his gold digger wife finds them and shoots him in the neck. Grace knocks her out, and Daniel dies, telling her to run. The dad finds Grace, but she knocks him out cold with a lantern and sets the house on fire. Alex finds his dying brother. Meanwhile, Grace fights the mom, who chokes her, but Grace headbutts her off and smashes her head in with LaBelle's box. Alex walks in to see his wife killing his mother. She's terrified of him, and rightfully so. He realizes their marriage can't survive this. He holds her face, then suddenly shouts that he has her betraying her to his family. The aunt orders everyone to watch. It's almost dawn, so they have to hurry. They tie Grace back to the table, chant again, and say, "Hail Satan," as Alex plunges the knife down. But Grace digs her nails into the aunt's hand, twists away, and Alex accidentally stabs her in the shoulder. Grace grabs the dagger, ready to fight. Then, sunrise. They freeze, but nothing happens. Maybe the curse isn't real after all. The aunt looks to LaBelle's chair, apologizes for being being late and charges Grace with an axe before exploding into a blood fountain. One by one, the family members explode into a red mist. Grace is laughing as they die around her. Alex tries to apologize, but she's done with him. She tells him she wants a divorce, and he explodes too. The mansion burns as the spirit of Mr. LaBelle appears briefly, nodding in approval. Grace walks out of the inferno, sits on the steps in her ruined wedding dress, lights a cigarette, and waits as the police arrive. Ready or Not fits perfectly into the 2019 wave of Eat the Rich movies like Parasite and Knives Out that explore how the wealthy exploit the powerless until those same victims finally strike back. It mixes dark humor with horror, landing somewhere between satire and blood-soaked revenge fantasy. Throughout the film, Grace is treated as nothing more than a pawn in the Domus family's twisted game, a tool to preserve their wealth and status. The family kills without hesitation. Even the servants' deaths mean nothing to them. They're just collateral damage in the name of tradition. It's a brutal but sharp reflection of how the privileged often dehumanize anyone beneath them to maintain their position. At the end, when the sun rises and Grace is still alive, the family's entire belief system collapses. For a brief moment, they're forced to face the idea that maybe all their violence, fear, and loyalty to their so-called tradition were for nothing. Their awkward guilt is almost enough punishment until they suddenly explode, proving the curse was real. In that final moment, the rich literally destroy themselves, consumed by their own greed and stupidity, while Grace walks away. It's the ultimate eat the rich moment. The powerful crumble, the powerless survive, and the illusion of wealth and control goes up in flames. Ready or Not strongly hints that Mr. LaBelle is essentially the devil, and that Victor Lee Doma once made a deal with him to gain the family's massive fortune. Their ritual sacrifices aren't just creepy traditions, they're outright satanic, centered around Mr. LaBelle's mysterious presence. In fact, after the Ledomas family meets their fiery end, Grace briefly sees him appear in his chair, confirming that the legend was true all along. According to the dad, the family's history goes back to the 19th century, when Victor Ledomas won a game of chance against Mr. LaBelle. As his reward, he received a magical black box and the ability to build his fortune through board games and playing cards, the foundation of what became the Domus Dominion. But keeping that fortune came with a horrifying price. Every generation was bound by the same rules. If the black box selected hide and seek, the new family member had to be hunted and sacrificed before dawn. Some, like the creepy aunt, had already carried out this ritual, while others didn't truly believe in the curse, but still obeyed out of fear. They convinced themselves it was just the cost of maintaining their wealth, power, and even their ownership of multiple professional sports teams, proving that, for their family, greed and superstition were two sides of the same coin. Sadly, the most untrustworthy character in Ready or Not turns out to be Alex. Once the prodigal son who left his family for 2 years, Alex eventually returned, this time with Grace. He knew Grace longed to be part of a family, having grown up in multiple foster homes. Marrying into his wealthy-ass family seemed like a dream come true for her. However, Alex never told her about the family's deadly tradition or what it could entail until after the game of hide-and-seek had already begun. Even though Alex tried to protect Grace for part of the movie, he was constantly battling his true nature and his loyalty to his family. Ultimately, when Alex saw that Grace had killed his mother, he snapped and turned on his new wife. In his mind, he and Grace could have been happy together, but in the end, Alex proved that his fear of dying was greater than the love for his beautiful wife. Ready or Not's ending fully leans into the movie's horror comedy tone, giving audiences a conclusion that's darkly hilarious. However, the original plan for the ending was very different and would have wrapped things up on a far more disturbing note than what viewers ultimately saw. Originally, the movie was set to end with Grace being killed, but it was smart of the filmmakers to realize that wasn't the right conclusion for this story. In a movie where a determined young woman is hunted by rich and entitled villains, audiences don't exactly want to see it end with the wealthy coming out on top. Ready or Not completely embraces the fun of its premise, and the ending needed to reflect that energy too. The filmmakers ultimately landed on an ending that shows the family realizing the curse might not have been real at all, that they had done all of this for nothing, only to then suddenly start dying in spectacular, over-the-top fashion. A And now, for my opinion, I think Ready or Not is timeless. Its the rich premise will always stay relevant, and thanks to its dark comedy, it's a movie that's absolutely worth rewatching. Samara Weaving proves she's a fantastic actress, effortlessly showing a wide range of emotions throughout the film. So, I'd say that 89% on Rotten Tomatoes is well deserved. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.